Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all here in the amphitheater of the Directorate of Documentation and Protection of Cultural Goods of the Ministry of Cultures for the beginning of the International Conference Mo.Na, Monuments in Nature, a creative coexistence. As you all know, the conference is organized by the European Centre for Byzantine and Post-Byzantine Monuments and its partners within the framework of the Mo.Na project that is implemented and funded by the Balkan-Med program. In this conference, every partner is responsible for organizing a special session according to her activities and participate in that experts on various fields of culture and environment. Today, we have the pleasure to have salutations from the ministries, the embassies, and the relevant authorities, and we are going to have a general presentation of the whole project, plus the work that has already been done in the 4 pilot sites: Santorini, Nesebar, Paphos, Forest, and Butrint. We will start with the salutation of the Minister of Culture and Sports, Dr. Lina Mendoni, which I will read right now. Dear Minister of Tourism, dear Deputy Minister of the Environment and Energy, dear ambassadors, dear delegates, colleagues and friends from Greece and abroad, ladies and gentlemen, I am particularly happy and truly honored to be addressing all of you this evening at the opening of the International Conference Mo.Na, Monuments in Nature, a creative coexistence, organized in Athens by the European Centre for Byzantine and Post-Byzantine Monuments in the context of the homonymous project funded by the INTERREG 5 Balkan-Mediterranean 2014-2020. My original intention was to take advantage of the newly regained liberties after the long period of restrictions imposed due to the ongoing pandemic, as well as the hybrid nature of the conference in order to participate in person. However, other official duties, unfortunately, prevented me from doing so. Therefore, I am sending this communication in writing. As we all know, at a time when many Southern European countries, including our own, had just started to recover from the effects of a long financial crisis and ensuing social depression, the sudden worldwide spread of the COVID-19 pandemic brought a wide range of activities to a standstill. This seriously affected key domains of the economy, especially the vulnerable tourism sector, and threatened to set back or even suspend and reverse the recovery process. Most importantly, however, it caused a dramatic disruption to our everyday lives, changing our customary ways of work, travel, family and social interaction, even our culture. At the same time, the pandemic demonstrated that despite our technological achievement, the world we live in is extremely volatile, and we remain vulnerable to the environmental changes and the forces of nature. The pandemic is, in fact, one of the many challenges with which the current and future generations are faced, such as depletion of natural resources, pollution, loss of biodiversity, and, of course, climate change. Over the coming years and decades, severe and extensive alteration in our natural environment will be affecting even more aspects of our lives, from social and economic growth and well-being to culture and identity. Widespread and radical changes to the natural landscape will inevitably unsettle established ways of life and traditional practices of communities in the affected areas of every level, at every level, thus significantly upsetting and altering the cultural landscape too, as this is the product of constant and ensuring human interaction with the environment. Cultural landscape is delicate and fragile. Many of its elements are in danger of being lost forever, as the deformation of the natural landscape has the capacity of undermining the values, meanings, and overall integrity and identity of tangible as well as intangible heritage, in addition to the economic and social status and development of local societies. In this respect, cultural landscape, like natural landscape, is also a public good, a crucial element of people's quality of life. Cultural landscape, therefore, is inseparably linked to and cannot be evaluated, interpreted, understood, and consequently protected, preserved, as well as appreciated, enjoyed, and utilized for the purpose of social and economic growth and prosperity without the natural landscape. There can also be no adequate, effective, and viable strategy or policy for the long-term sustainable management and development of the material and immaterial assets of cultural heritage, especially monuments and sites, without direct reference and regard to their physical setting and environment. On the contrary, uh, cohesive planning and unified management strategies and application protocols are required, especially in places of combined major cultural importance and high environmental interest and preservation value, such as mixed UNESCO World Heritage Sites and cultural sites inside Natura 2000 Ramsar areas, etc. It is no coincidence that authenticity and integrity are considered key components of the outstanding universal value, which is a primary assessment criterion, and this can only be safeguarding through the preparation and enforcement of integrated, sustainable management plans based on the holistic and balanced consideration and treatment of the natural and cultural environment, which is the only viable option for sustainable development. Development that will make good use of and at the same time protect and defend this valuable and fragile raw material, which we must realize that it is not in itself a perpetually renewable resource. Of course, these fundamental principles permeate all current and future policies and projects of the Hellenic Ministry of Culture and Sports related to the preservation, restoration, and enhancement of cultural heritage. Right now, management plans are in progress for all monuments and sites inscribed in UNESCO World Heritage List. Greece also plays a leading role in the international deliberations regarding the effects of climate change on cultural heritage. In 2019, the Greek government undertook the initiative towards the creation of the Cultural Heritage Partnership to enable climate change action, which has since been adopted by the representatives of 144 countries and received the support of the United Nations, UNESCO, ICOMOS, and other global organizations. In agreement with this initiative, a Greek national plan for the protection of cultural heritage from climate change is being prepared, which also entails the gradual formation and implementation of certified adaptation plans that will allow major archaeological sites and monuments to mitigate the threats of climate change by 2030. A pilot project aimed at establishing the necessary synergies, developing scientific and technical know-how, and addressing issues threatening the long-term sustainability of particular sites of major cultural, tourist, economic significance is already underway with funds from the European Recovery and Resilience Facility. The scientific, social, economic, and ultimately political, national, and international challenges raised by the imperative need to devise coherent policies and undertake effective actions to ensure the sustainability of the combined natural and cultural environment are nowadays a key issue addressed globally. For this reason, international programs such as Mo.Na, Monuments in Nature, a creative coexistence, promoting synergies in scientific research, the exchange of ideas, knowledge, and experience, and the common adoption of best practices and standards are of particular significance and value, especially in innovative efforts such as the one to develop assessment management tools as a common certification system adjustable to the specific economic, social, environmental, and climate variables of different locations with important natural and cultural features can prove extremely useful. This way, by joining our efforts, we can achieve progress and development, while at the same time preserving the integrity and authenticity of the natural and cultural environment, of course. Or, in the words of the great Greek architect and theoretician Dimitris Giannakis, we need to avert the ignominy of the land, that is, the derangement and deformation of shapes, the distortion of the image and the contours of the landscape, the loss of historical memory and identity, the destruction of natural and cultural environment, the violent interruption of continuity and coherence in space and time. Dr. Lina Mendoni, Minister of Culture and Sports. And now, I will read the salutation of the Minister of Tourism, Mr. Haris Theoharis. Πολιτιστική κληρονομιά και ο τουρισμός είναι δύο έννοιες αλληλένδετες, ιδιαίτερα όταν αναδεικνύουν την ιστορία του τόπου μας. Η διοργάνωση τέτοιων εκδηλώσεων που προάγουν τον πολιτισμό, το περιβάλλον και τον τουρισμό αποτελούν για το Υπουργείο του Τουρισμού και την κυβέρνησή μας σημαντικές ενέργειες και έχουν την αμέριστη στήριξή μας. Ένα τέτοιο γεγονός είναι αυτή η διοργάνωση του συνεδρίου σας που έχει ως αντικείμενο τη συνύπαρξη της περιβαλλοντικής και πολιτιστικής κληρονομιάς. Σε αυτό το σημείο, όλα τα παραπάνω έχονται να παντρευτούν με το μεγάλο όπλο της ελληνικής οικονομίας που είναι ο τουρισμός. Εδώ και χρόνια, ο τουριστικός κλάδος ακουμπά με μεγάλο σεβασμό και μέτρα προστασίας πάνω στους εκατοντάδες αρχαιολογικούς χώρους και τα χιλιάδες μνημεία της χώρας μας, που είναι πόλος έλξης για εκατομμύρια επισκέπτες, οι οποίοι απολαμβάνουν τις φυσικές ομορφιές, ενώ παράλληλα γίνονται γνώστες της ελληνικής ιστορίας και του πολιτισμού. Το Ευρωπαϊκό Κέντρο Βυζαντινών και Μεταβυζαντινών Μνημείων, με έργα όπως Mo.Na, Monuments in Nature, αναδεικνύει περιοχές με υψηλή πολιτιστική αξία σε χώρους ιδιαίτερης περιβαλλοντικής σημασίας, θέτοντας παράλληλα ερωτήματα ιδιαίτερης σημασίας που αφορούν την τουριστική επισκεψιμότητα και τις επιπτώσεις του τουρισμού σε αυτά. Όμως, η εμπειρία της χώρας μας τις τελευταίες δεκαετίες στους κανόνες διασφάλισης και προστασίας των αρχαιολογικών χώρων, ακόμη και σε ιδιαίτερα ευαίσθητες περιοχές που προστατεύονται από περιβαλλοντικές συμφωνίες, δείχνει ότι μπορούμε να συνδυάσουμε με τον καλύτερο τρόπο την κληρονομιά μας και τον τουρισμό. Με τις δικές σας δράσεις, μάλιστα, μπορούμε και επιβάλλεται να ενισχύσουμε ακόμη περισσότερο κάποιες περιοχές φυσικού και αρχαιολογικού κάλους, ώστε να προσελκύουν περισσότερους επισκέπτες και τους 12 μήνες του χρόνου. Αυτού του είδους ο τουρισμός αναπτύσσεται με θεαματικούς ρυθμούς παγκοσμίως και η πατρίδα μας, χάρη στη μακραίωνη ιστορική της περιπέτεια, είναι κατάσπαρτη με μνημεία και αξιοθέατα αρχαιολογικού και όχι μόνο ενδιαφέροντος. Η προβολή τους ανά την Ελλάδα θα ενταχθεί στην προσπάθειά μας για την προώθηση νέων, σύγχρονων και ειδικών μορφών τουρισμού, την ενίσχυση της τουριστικής κίνησης πέρα από τους γνωστούς προορισμούς, αλλά και την επέκταση, όπως προείπα, της τουριστικής περίοδου. Με την παραγωγή του κατάλληλου και εξειδικευμένου προωθητικού και διαφημιστικού υλικού, την παραγωγή εκδόσεων και οπτικοακουστικού υλικού, με την αξιοποίηση σύγχρονων και καινοτόμων επικοινωνιακών μέσων και τεχνολογιών, το Υπουργείο Τουρισμού μπορεί να ενισχύσει αυτές τις νέες μορφές τουρισμού και να τους δώσει προστιθέμενη αξία με τον κατάλληλο πάντα σεβασμό. Στους διοργανωτές και στους συμμετέχοντες θα ήθελα να εκφράσω τα θερμά μου συγχαρητήρια με την επισήμανση ότι τέτοιου είδους εκδηλώσεις συμβάλλουν στη γενικότερη προσπάθεια για την ανάδειξη της μακραίωνης ιστορίας του τόπου μας, την ανάγκη για δράσεις προστασίας του φυσικού περιβάλλοντος και βέβαια για την ανάπτυξη του ελληνικού τουρισμού και της προβολής της χώρας μας. And now, we have salutation of the Deputy Minister for Environment, Mr. Amiras, that is recorded. Okay?
Dear participants, I would kindly thank you for inviting me in the International Symposium Monuments in Nature, an inspirational topic that is in need of a multidisciplinary approach. Cultural heritage is considered by many as one of the 4 pillars of sustainable development. This is because heritage, if properly managed, can be instrumental in developing intercultural dialogue, shaping the identity of a territory, improving the quality of the environment, providing social cohesion, and on the economic side, stimulating tourism development, creating jobs, and enhancing investment. In other words, investment in cultural heritage can generate return in a form of social benefits and economic growth. The impact of climate change on natural heritage, although more extensively documented, requires much more urgent action that is currently taken. Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis was the first one to stress that Greece has taken clear initiatives to protect cultural heritage from the effects of climate change, including the erosion of monuments. With the support of UNESCO and the World Meteorological Organization, the Ministry of Environment, in collaboration with the Ministry of Culture, is proceeding this initiative first launched in 2019. We're proud of the fact that this proposal has been supported by more than 60 countries so far, and we hope that this number will increase significantly. A very challenging path to pave indeed. Thank you for your attention.
As you all know, in this Mo.Na project participate bodies from 4 countries, Greece, Cyprus, Bulgaria and Albania. It is of our great pleasure and honor to have with us representatives of the embassies of these 3 embassies from these 3 countries. Starting from Bulgaria, I will now ask to the floor Mr. Pauteley Spassov, Deputy Head of the Mission, for a short salutation regarding the Bulgarian participation.
I've been properly introduced, and I'm here to say a few words on behalf of my ambassador, His Excellency Valentin Poryazov. He's not trying not to come, and he's quite busy these days because he has to prepare for Saturday a very high-level Greek visit to Bulgaria, and for Sunday the Bulgarian parliamentary elections for the Greeks, for the Bulgarians that live in Greece. So he's really busy, but this gives me the fantastic chance to thank personally and to the Center for Byzantine and Post-Byzantine Monuments for their tireless efforts for promoting the cultural and historic bonds on the Balkans. I had the opportunity to follow their work for more than 10 years, the first time, or at least 10 years, the first time starting with an exhibition in the Museum of Byzantine Culture of 64 icons from the Bulgarian coast of the Black Sea in 2011, I think it was. They underwent conservation in the National Gallery of Sofia, funded by the Leventis Foundation. In the years that followed this, I was stationed at that time in Thessaloniki. I had many chances to visit the center, to speak with the then director, Madame Turta, Dr. Turta, the current director. So I learned from the center what is an olka, how important olkas, how important are the trade ports and the trade routes of the Black Sea and from the Black Sea here and there again. And I'm always following this project, the projects that the center is organizing with utmost interest. I should say that I consider the current project, Monuments in Nature, a creative coexistence, as of utmost importance, especially its social role. But I will not go into analysis of the project, as this will be your job the next few days, and I'm in no position to compete with your experience, no matter that besides being a diplomat, I'm also a historian. During the years, different Bulgarian institutions and historians regularly cooperated with the center, and Bulgaria is proud to be represented in the Mo.Na projects by the city of Nesever. We have here 3 brave representatives of Nesever who came personally to Athens despite the lingering epidemic, and a few more participating virtually. And I'm sure they will contribute substantially to the discussions in this conference. I would like also, I couldn't miss this opportunity to draw your attention to the participation in the current event of Professor Diana Gergova. She's not from Nesever, but it's not a minus always. She will share her innovative ideas about the Zboranovo National Reserve, where she was excavating for many years. I couldn't miss the opportunity to thank her that many years ago she was brave enough to accept my humble request to include me into her archaeological team that was making excavations in the Rhodopes. So I had enjoyed tremendously my archaeological summers in the mountains. But coming directly to to cut it short, I wish a fruitful work to the conference and success in all the endeavors. Just I couldn't but ask, what will be the next project of the center? You're always making fantastic projects, really. Thank you.
As you all understood, we have a long friendship with the Embassy of Bulgaria, with bodies that are located mainly in the Bulgarian Black Sea coast. And we know Mr. Spassov for many, many years. Hopefully, we will have several projects in the future as well, in which we can continue this fruitful collaboration. Now, when it comes to the Embassy of Cyprus, the ambassador could not be with us today due to his very heavy schedule, but he was kind enough to send us his greetings, his salutation, which I'm going to read. It is in Greek. I will give you then a very brief summary of this salutation. Κυρίες και κύριοι, so it is the salutation of the ambassador of Cyprus Democracy, Mr. Kyriakos Kenvezos. Κυρίες και κύριοι, χωρίς αμφιβολία, το φυσικό και πολιτιστικό περιβάλλον, η φύση και τα έργα των ανθρώπων, ως αποτέλεσμα της παρέμβασης και της διαλεκτικής σχέσης τους με αυτήν, αποτελούν συνιστώσεις ενός ενιαίου συνόλου, καθώς τη σύζευξή τους καθορίζουν την ύπαρξη και αποτελούν τεκμήριο της μνήμης και της πολιτιστικής μας ταυτότητας. Ως αδιαίρετο σύνολο, η προστασία του φυσικού και πολιτιστικού περιβάλλοντος και η ορθή διαχείριση, ανάδειξη και αξιοποίηση του αλληλένδετου φυσικού και πολιτιστικού κεφαλαίου προϋποθέτουν τη λήψη κοινών μέτρων και την εφαρμογή κοινών μοντέλων αειφόρου ανάπτυξης και στρατηγικής διαχείρισης των φυσικών πόρων, των μνημείων και των λοιπών ανθρωπογενών στοιχείων του πολιτισμού επί τη βάση ενός ολιστικού θεσμικού πλαισίου. Προς αυτήν την κατεύθυνση, με ιδιαίτερο ενδιαφέρον παρακολουθούμε τις δράσεις και τα αποτελέσματα του έργου «Mo.Na. Μνημεία στη φύση, μια δημιουργική συνύπαρξη». Ένα έργο διακρατικής σύμπραξης που υλοποιείται στο πλαίσιο του προγράμματος Ευρωπαϊκής Εδαφικής Συνεργασίας INTERREG Balkan-Mediterranean 2014-2020. Το έργο ως αντικείμενο έχει τη συνύπαρξη της περιβαλλοντικής και πολιτιστικής κληρονομιάς και την ανάπτυξη στρατηγικών για την κοινή αντιμετώπιση των πολιτιστικών μνημείων και του φυσικού περιβάλλοντος, όπου αυτά εντάσσονται, εστιάζοντας σε περιοχές ιδιαίτερου περιβαλλοντικού ενδιαφέροντος και υψηλής πολιτιστικής αξίας. Για την υλοποίηση του έργου, το οποίο υλοποιείται με επιτυχία παρά τους περιορισμούς της πανδημίας, που τόσες ανατροπές έχει επιφέρει στον προγραμματισμό πολλών αντιστοίχων δράσεων, εταίροι από την Ελλάδα, την Αλβανία, τη Βουλγαρία και την Κύπρο, με επικεφαλής φορέα το Ευρωπαϊκό Κέντρο Βυζαντινών και Μεταβυζαντινών Μνημείων, ανέπτυξαν ένα ευρύ φάσμα πιλωτικών και επιμέρους δράσεων σε 4 περιοχές ιδιαίτερου περιβαλλοντικού και πολιτισμικού ενδιαφέροντος των χωρών όπου εδρεύουν. Η Κύπρος συμμετέχει στο εταιρικό σχήμα μέσω του Τμήματος Δασών του Υπουργείου Γεωργίας, Αγροτικής Ανάπτυξης και Περιβάλλοντος της Κυπριακής Δημοκρατίας, οι αρμοδιότητες του οποίου περιλαμβάνουν τη διατήρηση, προστασία, αειφόρο διαχείριση και ανάπτυξη των δασών της Κύπρου και της Εταιρείας Κυπριακών Σπουδών, ενός από τα παλαιότερα εν ενεργεία σωματεία του ελληνισμού, που από την ίδρυσή της και για 85 χρόνια τώρα πολλά έχει προσφέρει στη συλλογή, διάσωση και τεκμηρίωση καθώς και μελέτη της πλούσιας πολιτιστικής κληρονομιάς της Κύπρου. Στο πλαίσιο του Ευρωπαϊκού Προγράμματος, οι 2 φορείς εστιάζουν το ενδιαφέρον τους στο δάσος Πάφου, το μεγαλύτερο δασικό σύμπλεγμα της Κύπρου, το οποίο συμπεριλαμβάνεται στο οικολογικό δίκτυο προστατευόμενων περιοχών Natura 2000, που καλύπτει όλα τα μέλη της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης με στόχο τη διατήρηση της βιοποικιλότητας στην επικράτειά της. Με εγκεκριμένες περιοχές ειδικής προστασίας πανίδας και χλωρίδας, που χαρακτηρίζονται από δασικούς οικοτόπους τραχείας πεύκης, ενδυμικής λατζιάς και κέδρου, παραποτάμιας βλάστησης πλατάνου και σκλήθρου και άλλων ενδυμικών φυτών, το δάσος Πάφου αποτελεί ιδιαιτέρως σημαντική περιοχή για την ορνηθοπανίδα, με αναπαραγόμενα αρπακτικά πτηνά και μεγάλους πληθυσμούς άλλων προστατευόμενων ειδών, ενώ σημαντική είναι η παρουσία του ενδυμικού αγρινού, του φιδιού της Κύπρου και άλλων θηλαστικών, ερπετών, αμφιβίων και εντόμων. Μέσα στην έκταση του δάσους εντοπίζονται αιωνόβια δένδρα, μνημεία της φύσης, αλλά και πολλά μνημεία του ανθρώπου, η ιστορική Ιερά Βασιλική και Σταυροπηγιακή Μονή της Παναγίας του Κίκου, ενετικά γεφύρια που αποτελούσαν μέρος της αρχαίας καμιλόστρατας, που διέσχιζε τις ορεινές περιοχές για τη μεταφορά αγαθών στα λιμάνια, κρυσφύγετα που χρησιμοποιήθηκαν από τους αγωνιστές της Εθνικής Οργάνωσης Κυπρίων Αγωνιστών 1955-1959, κατά τον απελευθερωτικό αγώνα της Κύπρου κατά των Βρετανών αποικιοκρατών, αλλά και άλλα ανθρωπογενή στοιχεία που συνδέονται με ιστορικές δραστηριότητες των κατοίκων, όπως παλιά μεταλλεία, καμίνια, νερόμυλοι, πριονιστήρια και εγκαταλελειμμένοι οικισμοί και εγκαταστάσεις. Για το έργο και τις πολυδιάστατες δράσεις του στην Κύπρο και τις άλλες συμμετέχουσες χώρες, αλλά και για την ευρύτερη θεματική της προστασίας, ανάδειξης και διαχείρισης του πολιτιστικού πλούτου και του φυσικού περιβάλλοντος, στο πλαίσιο βέλτιστων πρακτικών για την προαγωγή της βιώσιμης ανάπτυξης, έχουμε ασφαλώς πολλά ενδιαφέροντα να ακούσουμε και να μάθουμε από διακεκριμένους εισηγητές στις 3 ημέρες του συνεδρίου Mo.Na Monuments in Nature, που διοργανώνει το Ευρωπαϊκό Κέντρο Βυζαντινών και Μεταβυζαντινών Μνημείων στο πλαίσιο του προγράμματος. Αφού ευχαριστήσω θερμά τη Διευθύντρια του Κέντρου, Δόκτωρα Φλόρα Καραγιάννη, και τους διοργανωτές για την τιμητική πρόσκληση, χαιρετίζω την έναρξη του συνεδρίου και εύχομαι κάθε επιτυχία στις εργασίες του, στα αποτελέσματα των οποίων αναμένουμε με μεγάλο ενδιαφέρον. Με τη σκέψη ότι το φυσικό και πολιτιστικό περιβάλλον ως ενιαίο σύνολο συνιστά συλλογικό αγαθό δημοσίου συμφέροντος, η προστασία και η διαχείριση του οποίου αποτελεί υψηλή προτεραιότητα, είμαι βέβαιος ότι η επιτυχής υλοποίηση του έργου θα συμβάλλει αποτελεσματικά στη βιώσιμη διαχείριση των φυσικών και πολιτιστικών πόρων στις περιοχές παρέμβασης, αλλά και σε περιοχές με κοινά χαρακτηριστικά στα Βαλκάνια και την Νοτιοανατολική Μεσόγειο, ενθαρρύνοντας συνέργειες και παραγωγικές συνεργασίες σε περιφερειακό και ευρωπαϊκό επίπεδο. So the ambassador provided us with some information regarding all this rich cultural and natural heritage of Cyprus, and he really wishes us good luck to this to the works of this conference, which is going to be very interesting. Now, when it comes to the Embassy of Albania, it is with great pleasure to invite to the floor Ms. Joneda Doalaj, a diplomat of the Embassy, in order to have her salutation for our symposium.
Good afternoon, everyone. Kalispera σας. I have the pleasure to greet you on the behalf of the Ambassador of the Republic of Albania to the Hellenic Republic, Her Excellency, Mrs. Luela Haidaraga. Firstly, I would like to congratulate and wish success for this international conference hosted by the European Center for Byzantine and Post-Byzantine Monuments. Secondly, I would like to express our appreciation for the organization of such activities that promote the protection of natural resources and cultural heritage across the Balkan and Mediterranean territory. Apart from cultural heritage, these sites such as Butrint, in the case of Albania, constitute a significant mean for the economic development of our countries, in particular the field of tourism. They also create a bridge for cooperation in the region, as well as strengthen our common values. I also would like to thank the 4 representatives that have arrived straight from Albania, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more from the experts of this field today and in the upcoming days. Thank you once again for this organization, and I'm wishing you a nice evening.
Very much. Since, as you probably all know, in this project, the majority of the bodies belong to the cultural sector. Although during in all the implementation period of the project, we deal a lot with the issues regarding the environment. Therefore, we kindly ask the representative of the Natural Environment and Climate Change Agency, Ms. Dimitra Giannaka, a biologist, for a short presentation which is going to be online.
Good afternoon, everyone, and many thanks to the European Center for Byzantine and Post-Byzantine Monuments for your invitation to this exciting event. On behalf of the Natural Environment and Climate Change Agency and its administrative board, I'd like to extend our warmest greetings. The Natural Environment and Climate Change Agency, or NECA for short, was established a year ago, and it operates strategically and in cooperation with other authorities in order to coordinate the governance of protected areas, to monitor their preservation and ensure their sustainable development. In accordance with its legislative framework, NECA works in an interdisciplinary and horizontal manner, combining actions and principles involving sustainable development and the mitigation of climate change through active engagement of civil society. Now, as we all know, many monuments possess both significant cultural and natural values. Cultural and natural heritage often come together in defining the character and unique identity of rural areas. This can help protect and maintain them as places where people want to live, work, and visit, as well as offer new opportunities for branding and marketing local products and services. The integration of cultural heritage with national systems of protected areas and vice versa can provide an ideal framework for delivering enhanced conservation benefits. National authorities should seek to link these instruments as mutually reinforcing tools for the conservation of cultural and biological diversity. NECA intends to implement integrated planning and holistic management strategies in environments of particular interest and preservation value, such as Natura 2000 and Ramsar sites. Taking into account that areas of great cultural importance often overlap with protected areas, it is crucial to address both natural and cultural heritage objectives within a particular site or region. Such a joint approach will not only facilitate in securing the future existence of Greece's rich and diverse natural and cultural heritage, but will also have a sustainable development agenda. However, and as always, there are obstacles to overcome, and these include a lack of available baseline data on heritage features, a lack of understanding or expertise in identifying appropriate management measures. Furthermore, natural and cultural heritage features are frequently overlooked in wider development activities because of insufficient spatial data. Finally, a high level of skills and conservation knowledge are required in order to protect and manage such complex systems. So in order to succeed, it's evident that this joining of forces has to be initiated on all levels, from the very practical level, through the launch of joint projects and information sharing such as today, to the policy level, through the adoption of a more integrated approach to heritage management and the breaking down of silo mentalities. We strongly believe that the results and findings of this project will provide useful guidelines for developing joint approaches to managing and conserving natural and cultural heritage. Thank you very much, and we wish you a fruitful and successful conference.
Thank you very much, Ms. Giannaka. Last but not least, let me invite to give us a salutation far away from Thessaloniki, Ms. Zografia Theocharidou, who is the project officer of the INTERREG Balkan-Med program. And let me also from this from this floor, thank her a lot for being next to us in all the steps of this project. Ms. Theocharidou.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my turn to greet you all. Dr. Karagianni, thank you for giving me the floor. It is with a sincere pleasure and gratitude that on behalf of the Managing Authority of European Territorial Cooperation Programs and the Joint Secretariat of the Balkan-Med program, I welcome each and every one of you. This event is one of the culminations of the great work and effort of the different partners of the Mo.Na project, whom I would like to thank as well. The Mo.Na project, under priority access environment, plays a significant role as part of the program chain. To quote Ms. Audrey Ozuli, Director General of UNESCO, the World Heritage Convention specifically calls upon its parties to give the cultural and natural heritage a function in the life of the community. How can this be achieved without raising awareness and building capacity? among professionals in the safeguarding of the heritage. Our wish is that Mo.Na project will be such a positive multiplier for future similar projects, and the cooperation among its various partners across countries will serve as a good example of our work. We believe that transnational cooperation programs, such as Balkan-Med, offer the opportunity not only for dealing with problems on a regional level, but for the networking of institutions and beneficiaries from many countries as well, but in other cases would be difficult. As the architects of Balkan-Med program, we encourage strong partnerships and consequently sustainable projects. Successful implementation of projects leads to the collective scope of a program through the valuable output to overall qualitative performance. It is our firm belief that Mo.Na project possesses a significant role in bridging the cultural and natural heritage. It is an excellent example that contributes to our strategy to ameliorate the quality of life and ultimately bring social, cultural, and economic benefits to the residents of the 5 Balkan-Med countries. Thank you for your time. I wish every success to the conference.